Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror, we'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Wake Up Heavy is a Weirding Way media podcast.
She was one tough old mama.
Welcome to Wake Up Heavy, the world's greatest horror movie podcast.
On this episode, my weird dad and his friends will be talking about...
When you first saw me, what did you think?
I thought you were a klutz.
Excuse me.
What do you think of me when you first met me?
I play detective. You play lady in distress. I thought you were cute.
The dead body, it's gone, it vanished.
Well, maybe he was embarrassed.
Goldie Hawn and Chevy Chase in a new comedy thriller from the creators of Silver Streak. Foul Play, rated PG.
Now showing at North Park 4 Dallas, Forum Arlington, and Seminary Fort Worth. Check your newspaper for showtime.
Hello, and welcome to Wake Up Heavy. This is Mark Bigley, your host, and joining me once again, all the way from the Culture Cast, is Mr. Chris Stachiw.
I'll have a steak sandwich and a steak sandwich. Wait, wrong movie.
And from the Projection Booth podcast, Mr. Mike White.
Watch out for the elves.
Oh, Burgess. Today we are talking about... What are we talking about? We're talking about Foul Play. Wow!
Wait a second.
Hold on.
I am confused.
I almost said parents.
So now in October on your show, do you just don't do horror movies? That's right. What you should do every year.
I'm flipping it.
Yeah,
right.
Every year. Like everybody else in October, all of a sudden, it's like, I love horror movies, right? It's like, no, the horror movie guy does something else in October. That's what you should do every year.
Although, I will say, this movie scared me when I was a kid, so we'll get to that in a little bit. But we are talking about Foul Play, written and directed by Colin Higgins, and starring the power duo of Chevy Chase and Goldie Hawn. It is a love letter to Hitchcock, noirishness in a way. It was a massive hit back in 1978. Chevy's first starring role, if you don't count Groove Tube or Tunnel Vision.
Which, to be fair, I don't think we should be counting Groove Tube. Well,
No.
I'll take that back. I mean, the bit of him getting smacked around and then whacked on the head while they're singing is pretty funny. And the behind-the-scenes fact that he essentially got almost knocked out by Ken Shapiro is pretty funny.
The movie also stars Burgess Meredith, Rachel Roberts, Dudley Moore in his American debut, I believe, and Brian Dennehy for good measure. So I believe, Chris, this was a first-time watch for you?
Yes.
And what did you think?
I enjoyed Chevy Chase a lot. He's in one of my favorite movies, which is Fletch. I might be biased, and I'm probably a little biased. And obviously, you just mentioned the Groove Tube, and we just did an episode on the Groove Tube in September on the Culture Cast, and we talked about Chevy Chase there. And I'll mention the same thing here that I did there. It's kind of hard to have a conversation about Chevy Chase without going, oh, but by the way, like this guy torpedoed his own career. And it's a shame. And I will say it's even more of a shame for me now watching this movie, because this movie really shows what his range can be in terms of a comedic actor, but it's also the thing that I've never really seen. And I'm not saying I didn't see it in Fletch, but as like a leading man type. And I'm not saying he wasn't a leading man in Fletch, but it's different because that's a comedy. It's like saying, was Jim Carrey a leading man in all those comedies he was in the 90s? I guess you could say he was, but I would think we use the term vehicle less leading actor type designations. But it's just weird for me to see Chevy Chase in a movie where he's playing the romantic opposite of Goldie Hawn. All of that being said, I enjoyed this movie immensely, of course. If I came on here and said I didn't like it, I feel like I would be...
drawn and quartered?
Yeah. I would be understandably walked out of town. And by walked, I mean chased out with pitchforks and torches. Because I don't think anybody would say that this is a bad movie. I don't understand how you could. It's well remembered and well regarded for good reason. And everything about it is a good time. I enjoyed myself immensely. And I'm looking forward to talking about it.
And Mike, I know you've seen it. What's your experience with the film?
I can't remember how many times this was on television when I was younger. Would catch it at various parts, and then also kind of mixed it up with other things. A lot of the things that it was paying homage to, like I kept thinking towards the end that there was going to be a different assassination attempt, and it all had to do with like a cymbal crashing. And I was like, oh wait, no, that's actually the man who knew too much. So rewatching it now, all these years later, it does really make me appreciate, especially just how darn cute Goldie Hawn is. And I love all the stuff of her friend and the ardent feminism and stuff, which was hilarious. I think it drags a little bit at times, but otherwise, I just had a delightful time watching this. And it even made me go back and rewatch Seems Like Old Times. And I had a lot of fun with that because I also used to mix those up because I thought personally that there were probably like 3 or 4 Goldie Chevy movies.
Yeah.
Only to find out that there were 2.
Yeah, I think when you brought this up back when we were talking about Murder by Death and we're trying to figure out, what they had been in, and it's like, oh no, it's just those 2. And I remember as a kid, like they were box office gold.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You think, they must have been in like 3, 4, just every year, let's have a new Goldie Chevy movie. But nope, just those 2. And like you, my first time watching this was definitely on TV, and I don't know, probably this came out in 78, so it might not have been on TV until 1980, but it was on quite often, and I watched it every time it was on because I got a huge kick out of it. The movie that I not confuse it with, but that I always pair it with in my head is Marathon Man, and I think there's some superficial similarities to the storyline of the innocent man getting drawn into this conspiracy, but I really think it has to do with the albino character in this, Whitey Jackson, clever name, and that guy that tries to take out Roy Scheider at the beginning of Marathon Man. He's got those really pale eyes.
Yeah.
So I think I just always think of those eyes, those light eyes, in the same way. And like I said, not confuse the movies, but I think they'd make an interesting double feature.
Well, that whole wrong man thing, I mean, that is just the basis of almost every great Hitchcock, at least the thrillers, like North by Northwest with the whole Roger Thornhill thing and being mistaken for somebody or picking up something that you don't know actually has significance. So I like the MacGuffin in this movie, and I like that the MacGuffin gets burned to a crisp and nobody ever knows what the MacGuffin is. It's just a roll of film. Who knows what's on the film? Kind of like that. I'm amazed at this writer-director's body of work to know that he wrote Harold and Maude and 9 to 5 and The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, which I understand was a play before it became a movie. But my God, that track record. And Silver Streak. Like, I like
Silver
parts
Streak,
of Silver Streak. I haven't seen The Devil's Daughter, though. Directed by our old pal, Chris Genozwark.
Not our old pal.
Well, Father Malone's old pal.
Our old pal by association.
Right, yeah. Don't mix me up with that Genozwark guy.
Yeah. I watched Colin Higgins' last 2 movies, both this year. The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas and 9 to 5.
Nice.
And I like this more than both of those substantially. I haven't seen Harold and Maude yet.
Oh, wow.
It's fucking great.
Yeah, it sure is.
Might be covering it next year, maybe. Who knows? The list has not been set completely in stone, but it's already on the list. So, yes, I will finally be watching it. next year. But the thing I want to mention, it's kind of surprising because just to address what you guys were talking about with Chevy Chase and Goldie Hawn, how did nobody watch this movie and go, this is the duo we need for National Lampoon Vacation?
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand. Like, I'm not saying Beverly D'Angelo and Chevy Chase had bad chemistry, but the chemistry is so much better here that, to your point, Mike and Mark, I don't understand how this wasn't just a thing, like the way SRK and Kajol are in Indian cinema. Like, how was this not, like, still a thing? Frankly, there are many reasons why. Maybe one specific reason why. That being said, I don't understand how this wasn't more of a thing.
Yeah, I mean, they're wonderful together.
Yeah, like really wonderful together.
Most of it, for me, has to do with her.
Oh, yeah.
I think back when I was a kid, it was really him because I was so obsessed with Saturday Night Live and all the actors, and I tried to see the movies that they were in, if I could, if they weren't rated R like this in 1941. That's why that's still a favorite of mine. And like you mentioned, Chris, at the beginning, if you saw this after seeing most of his other work, you would be surprised because it's not the bumbling idiot, except for two examples that I think were thrown in because it was Chevy Chase in this movie. If it had been somebody else, those two bits, one at the beginning at the party where they first meet, they're meet cute, and he knocks over all the stuff on that little bar. Typical Chevy Chase slapstick crap that I abhor. And then the really unnecessary fall into the water when he's taking her to his houseboat. And that's like, what was the point of that? Just because that's what he's known for?
Yeah, that was rough. That was rough. I mean, it's very important that we have the meet cute at the beginning and that we establish that he's kind of a jerk and get a little bit more of her backstory, even, well, way more than his, just because he doesn't show up for like another half an hour. The first full act he is not part of other than that little beginning part of it.
Right, which is nice.
Which I was surprised by.
It's nice, though, because it's her story.
Oh, yeah, it's totally her story.
Well, and that's what I didn't realize going into this movie. Again, like, as the uninitiate here, as the one who had never seen it before, I did not expect it to be a Goldie Hawn movie more than a Chevy Chase movie, which is, I think is, again, to both of your points, I think it's fine. I think it actually ages better because it's a Goldie Hawn movie and not a Chevy Chase movie. And again, I'm not saying Chevy Chase's movies haven't aged well, but has anyone seen Modern Problems recently?
Oh, I used to watch that all the time.
Chevy Chase has Modern Problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie's wild, and he's the lead in that. I'm not, again, there's plenty of good Chevy Chase lead movies, but I think this ages better because I think Goldie Hawn she will not ever stop being cute, and like whatever this energy is, she still has it, and Chevy Chase just doesn't have this energy anymore. The kind of energy that anyone wants to be around, and it's a shame. It is a shame, and it's almost like the elephant in the room. It can't not be addressed, but it's really hard to overlook it now, given that Goldie Hawn again is kind of a perennial still. I mean, she's honestly the thing that's hard to watch this movie is just not to see Kate Hudson on screen all the time, because her energy is so similar to Goldie Hawn's. Like, and I haven't seen enough Goldie Hawn movies. This is the first Goldie Hawn movie I've ever seen.
Oh, wow.
So that's why it's like, I'm just surprised by how similar the energy is, like almost on the nose.
Well, and this really put her on the map too, because this was.
See why?
Oh yeah,
it reminds me of Barbra Streisand in What's Up, Doc. Like, it's got that same level of just like, you're too cute for words, but you have a level of autonomy that is also very appealing. Some guys don't find this level of autonomy appealing. They just don't. If you do, you really do. And that's the energy that Goldie Hawn has always had. And that's why I say it's like that Kate Hudson has that same energy. It would lead me to believe the interviews that I've seen with Kate Hudson, she suffers no fools. And I don't think Goldie Hawn does either.
No.
Especially someone who's been with Kurt Russell for like ever, So another person that the three of us have talked collectively about before, I believe. Or no, I guess, no. Yeah, we did with the
off podcast maybe, but yes.
Yeah.
But no, I just, her energy is so.
You're right.
Right, with the Dexter.
Yeah, Dexter Riley.
Right.
Her energy is just so infectious that you just can't help but be drawn in. I'm not saying Chevy Chase isn't like that, but it was the smart idea to make this her story, and he pops in from time to time.
I mean, she was definitely a known quantity. A lot of people knew her from her days on Laugh-In, but she had been in things like Cactus Flower and $, the Warren Beatty film, and Shampoo, the Warren Beatty film, Butterflies Are Free, Sugarland Express, where she was the star of the show, though I don't know how big of a hit that was. Definitely wasn't Jaws level, that's for sure. No. But this would put her into things like Private Benjamin, Seems Like Old Times, which I mentioned before, Best Friends with your old pal Burt Reynolds, and then things like Swing Shift Protocol, Wildcats, and she just, Overboard. This really picked her career into high gear, and she's been able to put some of the bad roles behind her, bad movies behind her very easily. And then you get stuff like House Sitter and Death Becomes Her. I mean, she was really cranking these things out all the way into the 90s.
She's a delight in this movie. And in most movies, she's that delightful character that you just can't stop looking at. And I kind of forget about that until I rewatch this. And I mean, besides her attractiveness, and I think to your point, Chris, and especially in this movie where it's not just a bubbly ditz.
Right.
She's on her own, and she seems to be fine on her own. That whole opening scene with her and that gal, her friend that's getting married. I guess this is a engagement party.
Looks like a shower or something, yeah.
And she's saying, get out there and show some cleavage and blah, blah, blah. She's like, I'm just going to take a drive and go see a movie by myself. And you don't get a lot of that, even in 1978. They get thrown together. I kind of almost wish that her and Chevy didn't hook up on screen.
It is a little forced at the end. Like, he's charming. That's the problem. Like, as much as, again, like, he is charming. And he has the best cleft chin in the industry, frankly. Every time I see...
How do you shave that thing?
I don't know,
that's got to be tough, man. Well, that's going to be tough.
Separate it.
What the other crazy thing is, like, watching this, like, Chevy Chase's voice sounds very different in this movie as well. I don't know. He's not
hamming it up.
No.
He's trying to play straight. That's a little affect going on.
Yeah. It's a very different version of Chevy Chase than I was expecting because, again, I've really only seen the things that most people who have seen his, like, 80s stuff have seen. Fletch.
Funny
Vacation.
Farm. Yeah.
Funny Farm,
and the vacation movies. But, what's funny is, like, I almost always forget that that's him in the vacation movies. Those are such their own thing as well in terms of the performance that he's doing there. Because they're trying to make him lovable, which, again... to me, always seems like a bad idea because Chevy Chase is at his best when he is keeping you at arm's length or further away, which is why Fletch is such an interesting character. And it's hard in those movies to take any of the relationships that he has with women in those movies seriously because it's like this guy should probably not have anyone who's actually actively interested in him long term. A long stream of one-night stands because that's the kind of guy that he's portraying himself to be. And in this movie, it verges on that, but they do kind of hold it back to make the cutesiness happen between the two of them. But I agree with you. I think it would have been better if they had allowed him to be a little bit more of a dickhead. But he's kind of a creep.
He's on the edge. Yeah. He's on the edge of that Caddyshack character.
Yeah.
Once that scene starts, I'm like going, wait a minute. This isn't from Caddyshack. Oh, no. Okay, so does he have a houseboat in Caddyshack? I know he's got the groovy slide that goes into the pool, but I'm like, this is very similar to that seduction scene in Caddyshack in my head right now.
And the Ty Webb character is essentially what I think he should have been here, where it's just like more of an arm's length away, just more of a dickhead. And again, like it just suits Chevy Chase's personality. Not to keep commenting on the person he is in reality, but if you're going to play yourself, you're known for being this person, I think it's best to just lean into it.
Was he going to be Venkman in the Ghostbusters movie? Because it shares a lot of that same energy to me. I know John Candy or John Belushi were supposed to be
Belushi, right.
Just that whole thing of like, because really Venkman shouldn't end up with Sigourney Weaver.
Is it any more palatable if it is Bill Murray, I guess?
Maybe it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've always liked that energy that Chevy Chase brought to those early roles. I mean, I always loved him as like Land Shark, those kind of things. His stint as the Weekend Update host, I thought that he was great in those type of things. But yeah, it's a little goes a long way quite often.
Well, and he was also supposed to be in Animal House, and Landis, I think, is the one that said, hell no. He was supposed to be not Otter.
Boone?
I think so. One of the main frat guys, and he was like, no. And I kind of understand it.
That's because Chase can't get out of his own fucking way as a human being.
Yeah.
And that's this. I mean, again, like I said, we just talked about it on the Culture Cast. Like, it is a shame, but it is not the first time, not the last time, and he's not even the worst example in a lot of ways. Like,
no,
we just talked about Mickey Rourke, like, kind of similar thing. Like, dude can't get out of his own way in a lot of ways. Like, I think Chevy Chase is a better example because Chevy Chase right now, like, what is he doing?
Dissing Community.
Right.
Yeah.
If you weren't that guy, you'd still be having a career. I mean, you probably would have aged gracefully like a Steve Martin and been on a immensely successful Hulu show with Martin Short. It's almost like there's a third fucking spot in there for you, ding dong, because you were in the Three Amigos with them as well. And you know what I mean? Like, it's such a self-fulfilling prophecy when you have to act like this character in movies, but you also happen to be that person in reality, and you can't keep the two things separate.
In this movie, he plays Lieutenant Carlson, Tony, and as we mentioned, they run into each other at this party, and then it becomes Goldie Hawn's story because she gets wrapped into this conspiracy by picking up a hitchhiker, which you just never do. Bob Scott, a.k.a. Scotty, who is broken down on the freeway as she's heading back into San Francisco. She's ready to take a chance again.
She's ready to put her love on the line. You could
say. Yes. She decides to meet him at the movie that she's going to later, which I believe is a made-up movie. We need to talk about that.
Yeah, it's This Gun for Hire, but there's no Chinese fisherman in This Gun for Hire. And yeah, the poster is something else.
This gun is mine or something like that. And so I'm looking it up like a dunce and I'm going, wait a minute, this isn't even a real movie. Are they showing a real movie? I guess so.
It's actual shots from This Gun for Hire.
Okay, thank you.
It's definitely Alan Ladd up on screen. Yeah.
He shows up and he's in a poor state and he keeps mumbling these phrases that she is confusing, and he passes off his pack of cigarettes to her that has a roll of film in it. And this leads to all kinds of mistakes and wrong man type situations where the albino, Stiltskin, and Scarface are after her.
And that woman. The woman character, I never remembered her. She plays a pretty prominent role, and I especially like that she rolls her eyes at the Archbishop character, the one who replaced his brother. They've got this whole long backstory. They've been working at this whole, like anti-church league since the 60s, and this is
the churches
78. Yeah,
thank you.
Very interesting. Very topical.
Yeah.
I was listening to her spiel and going, sign me up. I agree.
100%.
These conglomerates, I think she calls especially the Catholic Church, or that's mainly what they're referencing here, and billion-dollar industries that are going on tax-free. And I was like, yes.
She had two names, so that makes it a little tough to remember what her character's name was.
Yes.
Gerda, I guess, is what she's going by now.
She's in Picnic at Hanging Rock. I just watched that with my daughter. I was like, I know that face from something, and I would never have guessed it was Foul Play.
Well, it's funny. I just watched a video on comparing the Sidney Lumet Murder on the Orient Express to the Brana Murder on the Orient Express, and there she is, Hildegard Schmidt in the 74 version. So she was on a roll at this point in her career as well.
Yeah.
You know what? A kind of an odd connection. I think it's pretty interesting that the three of us are talking about this movie. The thing that this movie reminds me of almost the most, and this could be an interesting double feature, in terms of the theme and the direction that the movie's going for, Naked Gun.
Oh, okay. Yeah, especially with Pope.
Right.
The conspiracy theory. Yeah.
Right.
I can totally see that.
It's like an interesting double feature because this is kind of like the more serious Naked Gun. This movie is serious, but not really. And I think some of the more comedic moments in this movie don't work very well. I want to mention he's part of the Weirding Way Media Network, as this show is. Richard Hatem has Dudley Moore energy. Every time I see Dudley Moore in anything, I just think that's just our friend Richard. He and I watched Arthur earlier this year, and the podcast got lost to the sands of time, which is a shame because it was a lot of fun and I had never seen it before. But what's funny is I knew nothing about this movie other than Chevy Chase and Goldie Hawn were in it. And then I saw his name at the beginning and I was like, oh God, how is he in this movie?
How is he in this movie?
He's in there a lot.
Yeah. I say the moments in this movie that maybe don't work as well for me are almost entirely isolated to Dudley Moore.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. And I think, Mike, you said there's a moment where there's some time where this movie drags. Sitting in Dudley Moore's apartment and watching him fucking dance to Bee Gees might be just a step. It's like, hey, check out this crazy guy. Check out this funny guy for like 5 minutes. It's like, you're overselling this dude way too hard. Arthur is going to do a better job of making this person a palatable thing for American audiences. This character is like, I don't want to see you in anything. Like, please go away. It's
It did put him on the American map, though.
It's so put him on the map. And this is the scene I remember the best from the movie.
Yeah. I don't know if we talked about that back on the Murder by Death thing or at some other point, or maybe I'm just thinking of talking about it with my daughter because I have watched this with her and I said, this is the stuff that I loved as a kid and it's so cringy now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not even just the sexual nature of it. Like, I'm fine with that, him being a perv. His acting, I realized, I don't think I'm that big of a Dudley Moore fan. I watched that stupid body swap movie, even though that wasn't the episode I was on.
Whoa, stupid, coming out hot. Jesus.
Watched that with my daughter as well, and I'm like, I kind of think that his shtick is not for me.
Like Father Like Son, you mean, where he swaps bodies with Kirk Cameron?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the movie is set up for failure when he's swapping bodies with Kirk fucking Cameron.
Yeah.
It's a rough one, though. I mean, for me, really begins and ends with Bedazzled. He's so perfect in that movie.
I haven't seen that in ages.
Post that, it's really tough. And like, I remember loving Arthur when I was a kid, when I went to the fucking movie theater and saw that. I don't think I could watch it now because I just remember him being a little
obnoxious
shithead. Yeah. And more than anything, I just fucking love John Gielgud in there when he's just like, I think I'm going to take a bath. I shall alert the media.
He's great.
I watched Arthur earlier this year, and I think it holds up fine. And I think it holds up fine because he goes on a truly transformative journey by the end of that movie. And I don't think he's as much of a... This character is like off-putting in a lot of ways, but like it's intent of the role, you know?
But he's not a sleaze. When she turns around, so the whole setup is that she's running away from Whitey Jackson and Stiltskin, goes into a bar to hide, stumbles on him, says, take me home. And he's like,
I'm about to get lucky.
My wildest dreams have come true.
Yeah, this incredibly hot blonde sits down across from me and is demanding that I take her back to my apartment.
Yes.
Okay.
Where I apparently do not actually get any ass.
Right.
That's the joke, right? Is that he gets zero ass at all.
Right.
Which is why he's going to the spa, the stroke spa.
They meet at Twosome's, the bar. She's looking out the window to see if they're still following her for a very long time, as you mentioned, Chris. And then when she turns around and finally sees what's going on and says no, he shuts it down.
Yeah.
He doesn't keep going. He doesn't, come on, babe, blah, 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 all that crap.
I mean, how unrealistic would it be to have Dudley Moore, a small man, come on to Goldie Hawn, who's taller than him and could kick his ass? That's the thing. Like, Goldie Hawn suffers no fools.
Does that matter to guys? I appreciated that because I didn't really remember that he's like, okay, puts his pants back on. It's like, can I call you a cab?
Yeah, he's actually embarrassed to the way he's covering up his heart boxer shorts and stuff.
I got to give the movie credit for that. And I think that's mostly due to the writer.
When she deflates the inflatable sex doll. I'm like, I think that's a stand-in for his penis.
Yeah.
I love this whole thing, too, of how you mentioned her friend. Well, she's got the two friends. She's got the one friend whose party she's at, and then she's got the other friend,
Stella,
who was she might have also been the friend in Can't Stop the Music. I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up. I love how she is, all these men are after you and they want to get your pants and you shouldn't go home with anybody. She's basically like the Q of this movie. She gives her like the brass knuckles and this noise machine and mace. And I can't remember if she gives her anything else, but Gloria throughout the rest of the film will use those things as the story progresses. And I love that she does. It's like, here's all the gizmos, and now go ahead and use these to defeat this band of, because we also forgot the Turk is part of that step too. Yeah, you mentioned Scarface, Don Calfa showing up. I was so excited. I was like, oh, cool. I get to talk about Don Calfa in a context that isn't just Barney Miller. This is great.
Well, speaking of Barney Miller, Marilyn Sokol was in an episode of Barney Miller.
Oh, nice.
The sex surrogate episode.
Okay, I knew she was familiar.
She was in Can't Stop the Music, and she's in The Goodbye Girl, which is a movie I actually saw in the theater as a kid.
Wow.
I think a babysitter took us for some reason. Yeah, the Turk, Whitey Jackson, the albino, Scarface, and Stiltskin, which brings in the whole dwarf thing. So that's one of the other...
Little Billy Barty.
Yeah. Kind of.
Why is Billy Barty in this movie is the question
so great
that I ask.
We'll get to that in a minute because I noticed something yesterday that I never noticed before. That gang of assassins or whoever they all are, one of the cryptic things that Scotty says to Gloria is beware of the dwarf, and that's what sets this all into action. And I think Burgess Meredith, well, yeah, I haven't even mentioned Burgess Meredith yet, who's an absolute delight in this film.
He's great.
Her landlord, who is also kind of a surrogate father figure and takes care of her, and if he had a daughter, he wished it would be her. He keeps fucking up those lines about beware of the dwarf.
Look out for the elf. Beware of the midgets. They're taking over the world.
Just makes me think of that opening. I forgot to mention, before the party, we get that little cold open of the Archbishop driving up to his mansion. It's supposed to be San Francisco, but it's a place in Pasadena. I forget how great that little opening, not even a montage, just that edit of when he comes into the room and opens his dresser and sees himself in the mirror.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, turns, gets the knife thrown at him, the needle drops on the record, the Mikado starts playing, and then the movie opens, and it's like, man, that's great. That's a great little, what the fuck is going on type of thing.
Well, it's so nice, too, that the Mikado comes back in the final scene, too. It's like, oh, yeah, that's great.
And the whole idea of the opera, and like you said, you know, the man who knew too much, and all these other Hitchcock. It's not like High Anxiety in that way is where we're putting a pin on it, that these are all scenes from Hitchcock movies that we're playing on, but it's just that underlying Hitchcockian feel to the movie, and having the assassination take place at an opera, and even using San Francisco as the locale, which he utilized in a number of movies.
Yeah, most notably Vertigo,
and even, I mean, you could throw in the Birds there, Bay Area.
Mm-hmm.
That gang of assassins is the most interesting part. You mentioned Don Calfa, and he shows up at one point and then gets dispatched immediately.
In a very Dial M for Murder way, with the knitting needles, and her hand's right by the scissors. And I was like, oh, she's going to grab the scissors. And then I do like, too, where it's like, oh, you stabbed them with needles. Oh, so it's drug related. No, knitting.
Knitting. That's what brings Chevy Chase back into her life.
And Brian Dennehy.
As the sidekick.
I kept waiting for Brian Dennehy to be a bad guy through this whole movie. I was like, oh, no, he's in on it. And so when he is at the bad guy's headquarters, I was like, oh, here we go. This is where he's going to... No. He's a good guy. I mean, Brian Dennehy's always a good guy, even when he's bad.
Isn't he a bad guy in FX, though, isn't that?
No, he's the good guy in FX.
Okay, he doesn't flip in that. Okay.
Playing essentially the same, he's just playing another cop.
Yeah, because he seems like one that would flip very easily. I gotcha.
Yeah, okay. All right.
FX, man, I haven't seen that movie in for fucking ever.
Oh, it's good. It's so good.
Brian Brown, my lord.
Oh, yeah.
Australia's own. I like Brian Dennehy a lot in this movie, but I was also expecting it to be like, and now like he turns the gun on Chevy Chase. There is none of that.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that it wasn't just me. I'm glad we're all in agreement.
No, I was expecting it too. Yeah. But then he gets kidnapped, I guess, kind of, in the third act of the movie. And I was like, okay, well, I don't think he's in on it anymore. But I was expecting it. You know, what's interesting is the amount of we don't believe you that keeps going on in this movie. Because I think they go one time too many. But I think that's also where we kind of have the second act of this movie does drag a little bit. I think any of the dragging in this movie is definitely in the second act, not in the first or third.
I think we're all confusing his role here with his role in Tommy Boy, where he fakes his own death and then comes back at the end to kill David Spade.
Maybe that's
I'm back. And then a rat crawls across the banister.
Yeah, exactly.
He shoots David Spade in the eye.
Well, and that brings up the MacGuffin, like you mentioned earlier, Mike, and Scarface gets it. He gets the cigarette pack with the film canister in it and then drops it out of his pocket. And that's kind of the end of it until it gets tossed unceremoniously into the fire by Burgess Meredith, this character.
And I thought for sure that snake was going to take it out of the fire, but then you see it burning up. And I was like, oh, that's it. That's the end of this MacGuffin. Okay.
And then the snake laughs. That's the one part that was kind of confused me as a kid. Like, okay, mostly realistic film, and it takes a couple turns into absurdity, and that's one of them. But the other one is the scene with Billy Barty, which you're starting to bring up.
It just all of a sudden it's just a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Yeah,
5 minutes.
That's what I noticed yesterday for the first time. Like, okay, this has been playing it straight for the most part, but this just got goofy as heck with him getting tossed out the window and landing in that garbage can and rolling down that very steep hill in San Francisco and then getting bazookaed out of it and down the storm train.
I was watching the movie with my wife and she goes, that guy would be dead like 10 times over with all of his bones broken. Like, yeah. And then he gets bazookaed, I think is the best possible term. I mean, it's fine. It makes no sense, but it's fine.
It's pretty fun.
I love the full-size stuntman that goes down the into the drain.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Oh, that guy was a little tall.
I didn't even notice that.
Went from little Billy Barty to big Billy Barty real quick.
So, of course, she mistakes him for the dwarf that everyone's been telling her to watch out for. He's great in this, though.
Her boss at the library is like, oh, there was a little man looking for you, and he's got your information from your pastor. Oh, you know, a little person. I was like, oh, that's nice. That's really good. But no, it is Rupert Stiltskin is the little man.
So stupid.
Codename Dwarf, yes.
Yes, yeah.
God.
The police work can be brought into question in this movie as well. Where,
bit, yeah.
You know, Chris, it's understandable that they poo-poo her story at first because she's using all the, the dwarf and the albino, and it sounds ridiculous. And when she thinks that she's killed Scarface and hasn't, and then the albino does from outside her window, I'm not sure how he got up there. But that's the stuff that scared me. I mentioned that this movie spooked me as a kid, and it all has to do with the albino and him popping up in places in the library at her window. And she's got at least a 2-story apartment. She's up on the 2nd or 3rd floor, and then the body's gone. So you get it, but I hate that in movies too, Chris, but it sort of makes sense because it sounds like a ridiculous story in this. That's where I get confused as to why did the albino kill Scarface? I know they kind of explain it. They take the body, they don't ransack the house to find the film, and
that gets a little rough. Yeah, definitely.
The other thing is, once they do figure everything out, Scotty's body washes up on shore. Tony makes that connection because she said that she had picked up a hitchhiker named Scotty. He ends up being an undercover cop. He makes that connection finally. And then they sort of figure out the Dwarf connection with Stiltskin and all these other things. And they've got a picture of like the three of those guys together, the albino, Stiltskin, and I believe either the Turk or Scarface.
I think Scarface, yeah.
Later on in the film, at the conclusion, Tony says to Gloria, you better come because you're the only one that's seen Whitey. And it's like, you had a fucking picture of him.
Right.
What are you talking about?
He could be in disguise.
Well, what difference does that make? You'd recognize him just as well as I would in a disguise.
It's hard not to spot the albino man walking.
Yeah.
The albino man with the white eyes.
Yeah,
which
that's
is
what
not
creeped
a
me out. No, it's not, but it's creepy.
If you're an albino, I believe your eyes are not white. That is not how that works, but it is
I think
creepy.
They're more pink, usually.
Right, like red,
Yeah. I was really hoping for more John Hancock in this movie. He plays Chevy Chase's boss, and there's this whole thing of like, oh, I thought you were suspended or something like that. I was like, oh, well, why? Tell me more about this. Because, I mean, John Hancock was one of the classic movie dad type of guys. He's like right there with Reginald Val Johnson type of person. I'm just like, yeah, give me more of this guy. I love every time he shows up on screen.
It seems like some of his stuff was scrapped or something, because they bring up the suspension, and he's got, at one point when she comes in, there's a sign over Chevy Chase's head that says, "Don't talk to this
man."
Right.
He's on suspension.
Yeah.
They briefly mention he arrested the mayor, pulled over the mayor or something like that.
I swear he was wearing eye makeup, and I'm like, what?
Isn't that just a Chevy? Like, okay, that's just a Chevy Chase thing, right? Like,
yeah.
You were mentioning it, Begley, the thing about like, oh, him doing the slapsticky stuff. That's more of the stuff I assumed was just like the Chase isms, where he's like, I always think of Fletch where the woman goes, Buenos Dias, and he goes, Pup and Taco. And then says Tierra del Fuego, which, I mean, again, you're just literally just saying bullshit. But that's what I assume was more of the Chevy Chase thing. And he does it a couple times in this movie, and it makes no sense. Mm-hmm. One of those lines being, I swear he was wearing eye makeup. That's about as good as that's what I heard line from Ghostbusters. Like, what?
Yes, this man is on suspension. Do not speak to him politely, is what the sign said.
Jeez.
There's a couple scenes in there that seem like they're either truncated or slightly unnecessary. When she goes back to visit Billy Barty in the hospital, I don't understand the point of any of that.
To show that he's not dead?
Yeah.
But like, do we need to see a scene of that? Like, I just say he's not dead.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still great in it. How are you feeling? So. And then when she walks out, Dennehy's there, Fergie is there, and there's an 80-yard line where he's like, let's go meet Tony. And it's like, what was that the point to transition there to that? I couldn't have done it a different way.
Noticed a couple 80-yard lines where I was just like, oh, wow, you weren't on set that day, my friend.
I think my favorite gag in the entire movie has nothing to do with any of our main characters, and it involves two elderly women playing.
Oh my God, that was so good.
It's the best joke in the entire movie. It's given no fanfare, which I think is what makes it such a good joke, is it's just played completely straight, and we are just watching two elderly women use the word motherfucker in Scrabble, starting with fuck and then fucker and then motherfucker.
I believe there's a hyphen in that.
I was expecting you to say,
in 1978. Yes,
Right.
Yeah. She's spelling it gangster style. Chris.
Yeah, exactly.
Motherfucker.
And that would be with an A at the end, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. No, that's great. And I'm thinking, oh, how close are they going to get to showing that? And they cut it just at the right time. The FU is there, and she adds the CK, and then it's great. Yeah, those two old gals are wonderful. But, she's resourceful, and that's where we get Chekhov's brass knuckles, screamer, and mace when she utilizes all of those to take out the Turk and get out of that hideout of theirs.
I know he would have been too young to play this role, but my God, I would have loved to have seen John Polito as the Turk.
It reminded me of.
Totally reminded me, especially when he's got the fake hair on. And just, yeah.
Yeah, speaking of the man who knew... What's the name of that Coen Brothers movie?
Oh, right. The Man Who Wasn't There.
Yeah.
As opposed to the Bill Murray film, The Man Who Knew Too Little.
Right.
And apparently they called this The Girl Who Knew Too Little in like Sweden or something.
Makes sense.
I didn't mind The Man Who Knew Too Little, though there's another movie called, I think it's just called The Wrong Guy with Dave Foley, where it's a real parody of a ton of Hitchcock stuff, to the point where I think there's a miniature Mount Rushmore or something. I remember really liking that movie, though, a lot. They did a much better job than Mr. Mel Brooks when it came to parodying Hitchcock stuff.
Yeah.
I just wasn't a fan of High Anxiety. I mean, maybe it was the bird scene. I don't know what it was.
Kind of makes me gag. Even though I know it's fake. It's a little much.
Unsuccessful.
I've never seen it.
Oh.
It's all right.
But I've not seen a lot of Hitchcock either, so...
I imagine you probably get more out of it the more Hitchcock you've seen. Ron Carey's in High Anxiety, and he plays a pretty good role.
He's great.
Like a chauffeur or something.
I got it.
That whole thing.
I got it.
I don't got it. Yeah. I'm glad that's like what I remember from that movie. That and the bird poop, and then I guess Cloris Leachman is that like nurse
Dominatrix
character. Right. She was better served by Young Frankenstein, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, obviously, the ultimate Hitchcock parody is any Brian De Palma film, but it's in a different way.
Got him. Burned his ass right.
Right. I'm sure he's turning off the podcast now.
Yeah. Sorry, Mr. De Palma.
These guys, fuck you guys. You know how big of a fan of foul play I am? I just want to listen to a podcast. You have to come at me?
He starts crying. He's in tears.
That would be amazing. That is not within the realm of possibility, I don't think, but we can all dream. Totally gone off track here.
Why are we covering this?
No. Why?
Why are we here? Are we here because of Murder by Death, which we did so long ago, like a year ago?
That's why, yeah.
Wow.
Mike mentioned it as one of those spoofy
crazy
movies, spoofy spy movie, although it's not.
But it kind of is.
I'd like to think that it's because of the way that we spoke about Murder Can Hurt You instead. R.I.P. Burt Young.
Which is a similar take on that as Murder by Death, from my understanding.
Right, the Columbo character.
With all the detectives.
Right, yeah.
Burt Young is in The Sopranos as well, yeah.
So, Dudley Moore's other appearances. The massage parlor scene?
Oh, boy.
Oh, my. Do we have to talk about Dudley Moore anymore? I mean, I think it would have been enough if he had just come back at the end. And it would have been fine. When he shows up as the director of the symphony, like, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Of course, that's who he is. Did I need to see him in the massage parlor doing another? Like, no, I did not.
I kind of liked it. Under the rule of threes, he really needed to be there.
Right. No, I get it from a storytelling perspective, but like his character is just kind of one note, unfortunately.
Maybe if she had just seen him in there, like, and they did a double take at each other, but we've got to involve him in the plot and try to make him her way out of there, which he, of course, fouls up. And I love, though, that he ends up at the police station and inadvertently grabs Stella's ass so she can get in that last little. I love that character. I love her.
I was kind of hoping that she and him would end up together.
I sort of imagine that's what happens after this. She's still outside the station and he gets let out and takes her back to his beaver trap.
There you go. Yeah. When he calls it his beaver trap, I'm just like, oh my God, they just said that out loud. And he said that to her. And I'm like, you're blowing it, buddy. You're blowing it.
He's lucky that she's so oblivious and has other things on her mind that she doesn't notice anything that's going on. Like you mentioned, Chris, he ends up being the conductor of this version of the Mikado that's opening, and the Pope is there. And this is another example of, they know that there's an assassination plot, but they don't put it together that it's the Pope who's making a visit that day.
And it's all over television every single time they turn on TV.
Yes, exactly.
Like, somehow Frank Drebin looks more competent than the cops in this movie. And that's a problem.
I was like, what is this? Rosemary's Baby with the times that we mentioned the Pope coming to town? Jeez.
The fact that they don't realize that it's like, we don't know who they're going to be assassinating. Really? Really?
That's the missing piece that the film canister holds, I guess. The blueprints for the plan.
Yeah, it's a picture of the Pope.
Yeah.
The leader of an international religion, and you don't think that might be the person that they're trying to assassinate? Really? Okay, fine.
Yeah. The anti-church league, and yet you can't, make this happen.
Yeah,
right.
Frank?
Yeah, I like that Stella gets employed. Utilizing the library to figure out what is the name of their group? The Taxation Church something or other.
Tax the Church League.
Yeah, Tax the Church League. Which again, I'm going to say, I'm all for.
Biggest real estate agency in the entire world. Yeah, they own all that.
We just had not just religious people, but also Scientologists turn this podcast off.
Yeah. I think that Goldie Hawn, because there's the one moment where she's wearing her glasses, I think she's supposed to be one of these, like, what was that, 10 Things I Hate About You kind of things, where it's like, oh, she's actually really pretty if you took off her glasses.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, wait, what? But she only wears them the one time. Yeah.
I think she could be wearing glasses, a scarf, and a face
Groucho
mask, and
Mark's nose. Yeah,
you'd still realize she's gorgeous.
She's freaking adorable.
Adorable. Yeah,
she could be wearing a gorilla mask, and she would say, "Oh, okay, it's you, Goldie. I know it's you underneath there. Oh, darn, you got me. Like, yeah, we know."
I love the chase scene that's broken up into multiple parts with Chevy stealing different cars from different people, and they finally figured this all out at the Archbishop's mansion. And of course, Burgess Meredith has to tag along so he can have a wonderful karate fight with Gerda, or whatever her name is, the Rachel Roberts character.
She was one tough old mama.
We get Chevy, I guess, in his car, or maybe the Archbishop's car. It's not the limo, but driving through those hilly streets of San Francisco and wipes out once, steals the farmers.
This goes on for a while.
This is the part that I always loved as a kid, with that and the Japanese tourists and
the hippie who just keeps going, what does he say? Out of sight, far out. Right. I'm just like, oh boy.
Far out.
It's pretty great. I love it.
The Japanese couple is the best part.
Yeah. Kojak, bang, bang.
Bang, bang. That was great.
Well, and it ties into the Mikado as well, so I was glad for that.
Right.
And I had it in my head that they pull out a camera during that scene, but I think I was just ready for that, and it doesn't happen. So at least we don't get that in this movie. Speaking of Rosemary's Baby. They finally make it to the Opera House and track down Whitey Jackson, who's hidden in the... What did they say he's hidden?
Oh, yeah. Because he's only in one of two places, yeah.
The Oregon Boys area or something?
The Oregon, yeah, right. Where the pipes are? I don't know. That is a pretty great little chase scene with Whitey Jackson at the end through the... What do you call all that stuff up in the theater?
The rafters?
The rafter. Yeah. And then him and that cop falling on the HMS Pinafore.
The way that there's that long pause after it comes down and everybody's just waiting, and then the Pope finally is the one that breaks the silence and starts to applaud.
Surprised Enrico Palazzo didn't show up.
Naked Gun, yeah.
I must kill the Pope.
I think the third act works. I think, Mike, you're probably right. The chase maybe does go on a little. It's a
little much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they need to do it 3 gags. Probably, I mean, again, law of threes, but probably 2 was enough. I was kind of surprised that this movie is an hour and 50 minutes. It is just a tad long, which is fine. I enjoyed the end of this movie. Again, I feel like anytime we have characters fighting in a theater, it kind of always makes me think of all the other movies that do the same thing. Because you could even mention Naked Gun 3, where they're fighting at the Academy Awards. So again, it kind of reminded me of that too. I think this does it better for the most part.
Yeah, actually, as you're saying that, I'm thinking of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes' Smarter Brother, because I think that all takes place on the stage at the end, and they're singing opera to each other and stuff. So I was like, is that this? No, it's not this one.
They all kind of run together after a while when you think about it. Like, especially if they go into the rafters or stuff like that.
Chasing the rafters, hearing shots.
People falling out of the rafters.
Surprised there wasn't somebody falling headfirst into a tuba.
Billy Barty, perhaps?
Yeah.
Yes. He's there. They're in a wheelchair at the opera, and he rolls down the aisle and shoots out and then lands in the tuba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a shot of the person playing the tuba going with their face really extended because they can't blow any air out. Yeah.
Yeah. And you just hear little squeaks around the mouthpiece or something.
Yep.
It writes itself.
So I guess I was also thinking of more of a comedy, but Dirty Work. The entire climax of Dirty Work takes place in a movie theater, in a theater as well. So
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. The movie's weird oscillation between tones is the most apparent at the end of the movie, where you have like people actually being shot and killed in a movie where Billy Barty flew out of a trash can and survived.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably where a lot of the weird second act tone shifts kind of come into play, because I think you could have gotten away with not having Billy Barty in the movie at all and just having it be weird that Mark Lawrence's character's name is the Dwarf and not actually having a short actor in the movie. I don't know. That's probably where the only bloat of the movie is for me. But the third act, I think, keeps in line with the movie's serious enough that people can die, but funny enough where it's not the end of the world tone. Because there is that weird balance of, like, in a movie like Spaceballs, like none of the characters really die, and it's a parody. The stakes in parodies sometimes seem like they're more dictated. I mean, like when we talk about Naked Gun, like characters die in Naked Gun, but it's really only the bad guys. That's it. Like the villain characters. You never really think like any of the heroes can die. And like that's this movie's tone. Like there's times where it's like, oh, maybe that could happen. It doesn't verge all the way into parody territory, I think, which is the success of this movie ultimately.
I just think that we don't get too many movies this fun anymore, and I just really like how fun this one was. And yeah, to our earlier point, I don't know why this didn't start off a whole thing. Seems like Old Times really, I mean, it's not a sequel, it's its own thing. It's based on a Neil Simon play. I can't remember who ended up directing that one, but it works, and it works well as not necessarily a follow-up, but another film starring these two. And I don't think that we needed like a whole Thin Man type universe. These two didn't need to become Nick and Nora, but that kind of would have been fun though. I think having these two solving crimes going forward would have been kind of a neat thing.
Yeah, I wonder if there were any other plans to pair them up and other stuff. I haven't seen Seems Like Old Times in decades, but I remember the chemistry there being roughly the same as it is in this. And, you know, they could live on that houseboat and she can get embroiled in another murder mystery that takes place in her library and he has to help again or whatever.
I wonder if any of it was Chevy Chase didn't want to play second fiddle. We kind of mentioned it before. We've talked about it already.
And that's his whole thing. Right.
Is not yes, he loves playing second fiddle to people.
That's why he left Saturday Night Live.
That's why Bill Murray called him you're just a medium talent. Exactly. Yeah. That's what I wonder. Like, I wonder if it's just at some point this guy doesn't want to be the person who's the romantic lead. He wants to be the person who has a romantic lead opposite him. I would understand that given what we know. It is a disappointment because their chemistry here is really good. And it's believable, too. You could believe that she would find this person appealing and vice versa.
I say that I don't like them hooking up necessarily, but it is understandable in the context of the film.
Well, yeah, that's where it needs to go for the next film.
Right.
You could almost rework Seems Like Old Times into a sequel from this, because by that time they're split apart and she's married to Charles Grodin. She's got her own life. It feels very, very Irene Dunn and Cary Grant type of thing, where it's like, okay, now she's got her own life, and is he really the best person for her? Because Charles Grodin's, you know, kind of a careeraholic in that movie, and it's Charles Grodin, who I fucking love, and he adds such a great spice to that mix. It's just terrific. Oh, I love him so much, and he could have even been in the next movie, you know, the third movie of these folks going at it and solving the crimes. He could have been the reluctant helper and like, I can't believe you stole my wife away from me. You know, it is a very, very rich film. That's the one, just so you remember, where she's a lawyer and she keeps defending all these people who are really okay. They just need a little straightening out. So she just keeps hiring them to do things for her, like working at her house and all this stuff. It's very funny. And then Chevy Chase gets in trouble with the law in that one because he's captured on film robbing a bank because these two bank robbers, that's their whole scheme, is to grab somebody off the street, make them go in and rob the bank, and then they take the money.
I just remember that Knowles is in that film.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he's one of the people that she defended, and he's her chauffeur in that one.
And he's funny in it, right?
He's very funny in it, yeah.
Okay.
Especially towards the end, there's this whole thing at a meal where they're serving the governor because he wants to make Charles Grodin into the district attorney, and it works really well.
I need to watch that again.
It's pretty fun.
I remember enjoying it, but I think I was a little young.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned to you, I saw it in the theater. I think our cousins took us or something. We were down south visiting them and a little over my head, but I remember enjoying bits and pieces of it. And I was into Chevy Chase, so.
It definitely was way too old for me when I saw it back in the early 80s, so I totally can get that. I have to say, the house that they live in, I'm going to have to go back and look, but the house that they live in Seems Like Old Times so seems like the Archbishop or whoever that guy is in you were talking about that Pasadena house. It so looks like that to me.
And that was the other, she goes to the New Art to see this film, and I'm like, was there one in San Francisco? They filmed it at the one in LA, but I've always just associated the New Art with Eraserhead having its opening there back in around this time, actually. And so I don't know if there actually was one in San Francisco or if they just were like, fuck it, it's on the marquee, so we'll just say
there was not.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think so, but
and I bet Chuck McCann didn't work there either.
Yeah, no, Chuck McCann was better known as being a projectionist anyway. That's a deep cut. Cut, guys.
The only thing I've seen Chuck McCann in is in the Aristocrats, where he tells one of the Aristocrats jokes. I have not seen him in anything else.
Well, he was in a movie called The Projectionist. I can't remember, early 80s, I think. That was a very early role for Rodney Dangerfield. And Chris, he's going to show up at least once, if not twice, in Columbo, where he plays a projectionist. Yeah. Actually, I think it's going to be very soon for us to see him show up in that.
Oh, he's the theater manager in this. I get you.
Right.
I'm missing the joke here.
Okay. Sorry. That's why they call that one a way homer.
Because you only get it
on the way home. But I am home, Glenn.
Thank you for recognizing that reference. Alrighty, guys. Anything else?
Give us Foul Play 2. Chevy Chase and Goldie Hawn are still alive.
Yeah.
Do it, you coward.
You give us Foul Play 2. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Fowler Play.
How many years later are we now?
Oh, Jesus.
Well, in 5 years, it'll be 50, so 45.
Wow.
It still holds up.
Yeah.
It still holds up. It's not problematic. At least it's got that going for it.
Thank you for inviting me on your show to talk about this movie. Not that I wouldn't have ever watched it, but it was definitely something I'd seen the box art enough time and not realizing that Chevy Chase has a gun in his pocket and he's not just happy to see me. I didn't realize that there's a gun in the poster that like is being shot. I didn't realize until I was like, oh, okay. Because again, I knew nothing about this movie going in. Nothing about this movie.
Yeah, I never really picked up on that either.
What, that he has a gun?
And that it's going off.
It's going off.
At the same time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
if I was being hugged by Goldie Hawn, my gun might go off as well. So
probably.
Yeah, don't worry, it happens to every man.
Goldie Hawn is actually really good in that Netflix Christmas movie where she's opposite Kurt Russell. It's actually really cute.
I think that's all she does these days is just play Mrs. Claus next to her partner. And can't blame her for that.
No, and they're adorable together. And Kurt Russell is kind of like Kurt Russell is one of those just like perfectly wholesome actors in a way that like, I feel like he gets overlooked for Tom Hanks, but I think Kurt Russell is as wholesome, if not more so because of how his career started. And he's kind of been not like wholesome throughout, but like in a way, like I always think of Kurt Russell as like put that guy on a pedestal in a lot of ways, like as like an example of a really, not just a quality American actor, but I think a quality representative of like the acting community as well. So I think we're all a huge fan of Kurt Russell for different reasons and from different movies and things, but him and Goldie Hawn together in that movie is just very adorable.
Yeah, they're cute. They're very cute.
It's like seeing someone's parents or grandparents, like, oh, look at them. You know, and then seeing her in this, it's like, oh, you used to be like younger and adorable. Now you're just older and adorable. Nothing has really changed.
Right.
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the 3 hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster, you know, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Well, when you're not over here visiting me, Chris, what's going on over at the Culture Cast?
Talking about movies once a week. Right now, since it's October, horror movies, because, you know, I'm just like everybody else. I follow the trends.
But Begley.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Bucks the trends.
Actually, this might not come out until November, so.
Oh, okay.
If you want to redirect your response.
Damn.
What's going on in November over at the Culture Cast?
Movies about food.
All Thanksgiving, yes.
Yeah, well, I guess so. Yeah, coincidentally, I guess the 1 month of the year where it's like the food holiday. So we're talking about food movies. So Babette's Feast, The Chef, the Thief, The Cook, and Her Lover, the Chef,
the Wife, the Wife.
Oh yeah.
Well,
the
shit.
Cook,
what
the
is
Thief,
it?
His Wife, and Her Lover.
Yep.
There we go. With
I need to watch that again.
With R.I.P. Rest in Peace, Michael Gambon.
Yeah, but the incredible Helen Mirren in that movie. Oh my God.
I've never seen it, so.
I'm on a cannibal movie kick, so I might as well throw that one in.
You're in for a treat.
Ooh, did I just spoil it?
No, I know it's about eating people.
Okay.
Or eating something. But yeah, so that's what's going on at the Culture Cast. But just go over to Weirding Way Media, where you found this show and so many other fantastic shows to be checking out and spending your time listening to.
And Mike, what's going on in November over on the projection booth?
In November, I'm probably going to be releasing a lot of Shocktober titles just because I'm so freaking behind on stuff.
Halloween is 2 months a year for
you're doing Check Timber right now a little late,
yes,
aren't you?
I sure am.
God.
Yeah, I just had somebody email me last night and go, where's the Shocktober titles? Did I miss something?
I got really confused.
Oh, yeah. So I went ahead and I hired... I hired somebody to do some editing for me, so I'm hoping to release 2 episodes a week for all of November and maybe catch up. So fingers crossed.
Can you mention any titles, or are we being secretive?
Oh, no. It's all out there. For Shocktober in November, I'll be doing things like The Keep, Island of Lost Souls, some of the other ones, A Virgin Among the Living Dead, and there's one other that I'm not remembering. It's not Sonatine. It's Man Bites Dog. So yeah,
another film I haven't seen in decades.
Yeah, it had been a long time for me as well. Last time I saw it was at the movie theater itself.
Yeah, I think that's the last time I saw The Cook at all. Well, maybe not. Maybe I rented it once. Anyway.
Yeah, that's the only place I saw that for a long time before we did an episode.
Alrighty, well, thank you both for joining me on this episode, and thanks to everyone for listening. Head over to weirdingwaymedia.com for all of these shows, plus the other shows that we all host. And don't forget...
Don't forget what?
What?
That's my...
What?
That happens every time.
You just leave that in there, bro. Don't forget what?
Fuck. Quart of milk, stick of butter? What am I need?
Yeah. Honey, what did we need at the store?
Right.
Don't forget.
Anything can happen when you wake up heavy.
She was one tough old mama.